Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
This morning I had a chance to speak with Speaker Boehner, and I told him what I've been saying publicly, that I am happy to talk with him and other Republicans about anything. Not just issues I think are important, but also issues that they think are important. But I also told him that having such a conversation, talks, negotiations, shouldn't require hanging the threats of a government shutdown or economic chaos over the heads of the American people.
Welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show. It is the Tuesday edition of the aforementioned show. The president, as we speak, still holding his news conference, which started about an hour ago. You ask him a question, he goes on for 20 minutes. And at last count, and this was about 20 minutes to a half hour ago, he said the word ransom 3 times, extortion 2 times, burn the house down, crash global economy, cause a recession, and threatening families. This from the man who's going to bring everybody together. Look, it's more of the same. He is standing there saying, I'll sit down with the Republicans and negotiate after they continue to fund the government with a clean CR and after they agree to raise the debt ceiling. He will not negotiate. He is the first president ever to say he will not negotiate on a budget or CR or on raising the debt ceiling. And don't forget, in 2006, Senator Barack Obama voted against raising the debt ceiling, saying it was irresponsible, it was unpatriotic to rack up such debt. And then the debt was, I don't know, a couple of trillion. Now he wants it to go to 17 trillion plus. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think the American public's getting a little bit wise. The latest CNN poll that they keep touting, and they keep saying, oh, Republicans are getting blamed, Republicans are getting blamed. Okay, but given the assault, I could use that terminology too, right? Violent imagery and military-type tactics and stuff. Given the assault, the frontal assault by every newspaper, every major network, every commentator, every interview done with a Republican on the Republicans, you would think Republicans were blamed 90-1. Listen to the numbers. While 63% blame Republicans, according to CNN, they must be horrified that 57% also blame Democrats. Horrified that 57% also blame Democrats. 3% blame the president. So, for, like I said, the media, they should get slapped on the wrist. Listen, like this. Ow! Actually, that hurt. That really hurt. I hit a vein or something. Because they failed. Oh, actually, that hurt. That really hurt. I hit a vein or something. Because they failed. 20%, 25% blaming Democrats. No. 63 to 57 and 53. 20%, 25% blaming Democrats. No. 63 to 57 and 53. I got to tell you, I'm reading stories here. Gestapo tactics meet senior citizens at Yellowstone. They talk about a senior citizen went on a trip last week, and her bus tour witnessed an ugly spectacle that made her embarrassed, angry, and heartbroken for her country. The tourists were treated harshly by armed park employees, so much so that some of the foreign tourists with limited English thought they were under arrest. Thank you, President Obama. The Republicans have offered to fund the reopening of these parks and monuments. Says Obama and the Democrats. How about this? In what veterans call an outrageous slight after the ultimate sacrifice, the shuttered federal government is withholding $100,000 payments normally wired to relatives of fallen soldiers. This is what this commander-in-chief has decided to do. This is what he has decided to do. The payment known as the death gratuity is sent to the families of the fallen within 3 days to help them cover the funeral costs or travel to meet the flag-draped coffins of their loved ones. And this president has said no. Republicans have offered to fund this. Obama and the Democrats, just like when it comes to kids with cancer, have said no. Why should we? Why should we? What do we? No. Why should we? Why should we? What do we? Barack Obama's not just keeping elderly World War II vets away from their memorial. He's keeping current military forces away from their football and baseball games, too. Due to the government shutdown, the Defense Department can only provide limited overseas television, radio, print, and web services, according to the Armed Services Network. But listen to cut number 18 here, and listen to Howie Long, former NFL great, fixture on Fox TV's NFL pre- and post-game shows. Former NFL great, fixture on Fox TV's NFL pre- and post-game shows. The NFL to our armed forces, cut 18.
Well, due to the government shutdown, our games today will unfortunately not be seen on the Armed Forces Network, preventing thousands of men and women overseas from enjoying NFL football. Over the years here at Fox, we've been fortunate enough to spend time with the troops both here and abroad. So we know firsthand how these games bring a welcome peace of home and a much-deserved respite from the dangerous work they do, protecting our liberty. Regardless of politics, I know we all hope the shutdown ends soon and our troops can once again watch the game we all love.
All right. Well, they say now that the NFL broadcast will be back. They did not say how long it will take. Now, while all this is going on, and to be honest, with all respect to our troops, the last story here is the least of my worries compared to what's going on at the national parks, the way seniors are being treated, the way money's being withheld from the families of slain soldiers. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. But here's what is getting funded. Here's what is getting funded. Funding for clinical cancer trials and other life-saving research, NIH, cut off. But according to the daily Treasury statement, and first reported by CNS News, the administration gave $445 million. You know who to? To the Corporation for Public Broadcasting on the first day of the shutdown. So that means PBS NewsHour and Tavis Smiley and Charlie Rose and Gwen Ifill and all those left-wing nut jobs will still get paid. And their employees will come to work, while military families won't get money to go meet their coffins and have funerals for their loved ones. Corporation for Public Broadcasting got funded. And here's another beauty. Even though isolated barricades with closed marked on them remain on the National Mall today, they're still going to allow an immigration rally. A national immigration rally or a pro-immigration reform now rally will still be allowed to be held on the mall, notwithstanding the closed signs and the barricades that are closing the National Mall. So the Corporation for Public Broadcasting gets $440 million. The National Mall is closed to kids and visitors, but the pro-immigration rally will take place. Are you seeing the priorities of this administration? Now, here's one more poll for you. We told you 67% blame Republicans for what's going on. 56% blame, 63% blame Republicans. 57% blame Democrats. A Fox News national poll asked voters to imagine being a lawmaker and having to cast a vote up or down on raising the debt ceiling. 37% of Americans would vote to raise the debt ceiling. 37%. 58% would vote against it, as did Barack Obama when he was senator in Illinois in 2006. So once again, if you listen to the news media, you think, you know, we're going to crash if the debt ceiling's not raised, and any American with any brains would want the debt ceiling raised. Yet only 37% of Americans, when asked, would raise the debt ceiling. Just another example of the media trying to make you think that you're out of your mind when quite the opposite is true. But let me just say this. let me just say this. Here's why I am worried. Here's why I am very concerned. And here's why I might even, if the Republicans had the nerve to say this, I would say cave. Cave to this man. And here's why. I don't believe he gives a darn. He will not budge. And if there's chaos and destruction and bankruptcy and a depression, he doesn't care. That's what I think. That's what I think. That's why we're not dealing with Clinton or Reagan or Bush or Nixon or Carter. We're dealing with a man who has a problem with the fundamental being of this country and how it was founded. And that's why I might start urging Republicans to cave and explain this to the American people just the way I did. On the Steve Malzberg Show, News Max TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Did you know that right now, some retail banks around the country are allowing people to exchange ordinary paper dollars for real holding-your-hand silver? That's right. You can walk into almost any ordinary bank in the U.S. Then, after a short and free transaction, they might hand you a fistful of silver that's worth $50, maybe $100 or more.
Anybody can do it. That's what amazed me. It doesn't take much to go in there and walk out with some silver.
It's part of a weird transaction that very few people know about, but anyone can try this. You don't even need an account with the bank. A former Wall Street professional posted a free video online showing exactly how to do it. Just go to www.retirementsilver35.com and check it out. Keep in mind, this silver is disappearing fast. Over 2 million people have watched this video already. So check it out for free right now before the silver is all gone. Again, just go to retirementsilver35.com to watch the free video which details this exciting silver loophole.
Attention, anyone with diabetes or prediabetes. A special website has been created just for you. At the free website 99reverse.com, we reveal the one weird spice that's probably in your kitchen right now and how it normalizes blood sugar levels. People who have followed this plan exactly as found at 99reverse.com have not only normalized their blood sugar but stopped taking their diabetes medications with the astounded approval of their doctor. Now you can take this natural, safe, and drug-free approach to reversing diabetes. You won't hear this advice anywhere else. At 99reverse.com, we reveal 3 common doctor recommendations about diabetes and why they are horribly wrong. Plus, you get 3 specific actions to take right now, today, that get your blood sugar under control in 4 weeks or less. Go right now to 99reverse.com or call toll-free 855-99-REVERSE. Is it possible to reverse diabetes? Visit 99reverse.com and find out now, while this revolutionary video is still available for free. That's 99reverse.com or call toll-free 855-99-REVERSE, 99reverse.com.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, by now, welcome back. We're all familiar with the event that took place on the West Side Highway here in New York City back on September 29th. The driver was surrounded by a bunch of motorcyclists, and he apparently felt threatened, peeled out, and in the process ran over one of the motorcyclists. They then went and tracked him down and cornered him, and a bunch of them got out and started beating on his SUV, pulled him out, and beat him to a pulp. We now understand that among the many undercover New York City police at that scene on the motorcycles, at least one is seen on video attacking the SUV. Joining us now is famed attorney Gloria Allred. Hello, Gloria.
Hi, Steve. How you doing
Good.
today?
How are you?
Good.
I was watching CNN last night, and what's his name? Your buddy said I just saw Gloria Allred downstairs in the lobby or something. Mark Garagos. Anyway, so I said Gloria's in town. Okay, so you are representing Mr. Mises. He is the one that was run over inadvertently by the driver Alexian Lean, and he is unfortunately paralyzed. What are you looking for? What are you claiming?
Well, my client Edwin Mieses is definitely an innocent victim who was trying to help the driver of the SUV when he was run over. And my client's 32 years old. He's a devoted father. He takes care of his two children who are ages 15 and 9. He's been living with the mother of his children for more than 16 years. And by the way, since the terrible incident, she's been at the hospital, and he's been in the ICU until yesterday. And she's been with him, sleeping in a chair next to his bed every night since then, and she's there with him all day, except for the interview we did last night. She's an amazing person. And so my client, Mr. Mieses, is not a member of any gang. He did not do any wrong whatsoever to Mr. Leanne. Now, here's some of the facts, by the way, that I didn't say in the news conference that have now come out as a result of our investigation, and really we're connecting the dots, and frankly, the media, I think, has got the wrong narrative going. What happened, as far as what we understand happened, is miles before the incident that you saw, that everybody saw in the video with, bikers hitting Mr. Lean's car, some of them banging on his window. Miles before that, Mr. Leanne is driving down the highway. He's in the right lane. He decides he's going to move over in his big SUV into the middle lane. When he does so, he hits a biker's motorcycle, doesn't stop. That's the first one, okay? Then he proceeds some more miles down the highway. He hits another biker's motorcycle, and then he runs over my client, and he crushes him. My client's got 2 breaks in his spine, multiple fractures, a torn aorta, punctured lungs, and God knows what else. And, we don't know that he's ever going to walk.
What are you looking for? Financial compensation for Lean, or what?
We're looking for justice. And a lot of people, Steve, say, and some, even some respected journalists have said, well, what about, Mr. Leanne? What, he was in fear. He's got his wife in the car. He's got his 2-year-old in the car. If you run over somebody, you need to stop.
Oh, come on, Gloria, I got to tell you.
Somebody, you got to
Gloria,
stop.
if I got my wife, first of all, they opened the door of his car when he peeled out right as he or before he hit your client. They were trying to get into this guy's car.
No, that's false. Your facts
I
are
saw
wrong.
the door open, but
but your facts are wrong.
Regardless, you're telling me you would stop. You would stop and get out of that car after hitting a guy on a motorcycle when you felt threatened? With all those guys around you?
Okay, no, but you have to understand. Back up to the facts. You have to accept the facts as I just
No, I
gave
can't accept it. That's whose work. Who says that? Whose investigation? Is there video of it?
I'm talking to you about, let's assume that I have evidence, and by the way, I've never given facts without evidence, let's just assume for purposes of discussion that I have evidence for what I said. The first hit that he did of the motorcycle.
Okay.
Miles down before this other incident that you saw.
All right, then they should have called the cops and stood and followed him from behind, called the cops, and then let the cops handle it. Not track him down and beat him.
Did he do that?
Did who do that? I said, no. I said, if that's true, that the motorcyclist were enraged even before we saw it.
No. You're not listening to what I just said, or I'm sorry, maybe it's not coming through the phone. What I said is, miles before the incident that you saw,
yes, and if the SUV
hit another motorcyclist.
Right, and he left. So then what should have happened was the motorcyclist should have called the cops, followed him from behind, and then alerted the cops. That's the guy. Go get him.
No, but see, here's the thing. Under New York law, which I'm sure you're aware of, if you hit a motorcyclist or another car, you have to exchange insurance information.
No. Not if there's a gang. Let me ask you a question about your client.
No. There was no gang.
Gloria, was your client, was he arrested in Andover, Massachusetts for driving with the revoked license?
Steve.
Was he?
Steve.
Was he? Did he apply? Did he ever apply?
Are you going to let me?
Well, I only got a minute left, and I heard your side. Now I got to ask you a question.
No.
Gloria, I got less than a minute. Did he have a motorcycle license to drive a motorcycle?
He was not on a motorcycle when he was hit.
Did he?
He was standing. Let me tell you.
Okay. Does he have a motorcycle license?
You can do your editorial after I get off the phone, but I'm just trying to tell you.
But Gloria, I let you speak. Just answer me. Was he arrested
relevant.
in Andover?
He was run over. And listen, here's what
was he named a habitual offender and forbidden from driving until 2017?
Okay, are you going to let me talk?
I'm out of time. You won't answer me.
He did nothing to Mr. Lean. Except try to calm the situation.
Mr. Lean had every right to try to escape.
Nothing was done by even any other biker.
Gloria, I appreciate you coming on.
My
I got 10 seconds. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Steve.
I don't think you have a case, but Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
When you were younger, you probably never considered your heart health. But cardiologist Dr. Chauncey Crandall knows from experience that taking steps to care for your heart becomes more crucial as the decades pass, if you want to keep this vital organ ticking smoothly for years to come. That's why Dr. Crandall recently developed Cardio Advanced, a nutritional supplement containing 12 special ingredients, all selected to help improve and maintain your heart health and normal cholesterol levels. The flagship of this exclusive formula, esterified plant sterols, may help lower your risk of heart disease when taken as part of a diet low in cholesterol and fat. And great news, now you have the opportunity to try a 30-day supply of Cardio Advanced. Simply cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act right now, you'll also receive a free doctor's guide to a healthy heart as a special bonus. Please visit cardioadvanced.com/radio for complete details on claiming your 30-day bottle of Cardio Advanced and free report. That's cardioadvanced.com/radio. Life is too precious to ignore your heart health. Visit cardioadvanced.com/radio now while supplies last.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you Find live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what do you 855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really?
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
His face has never been seen by the public, but he goes by the name Akrima, and he is a senior planner for the Somali terrorist group known as Al-Shabaab. He will now also be known as the one who got away from SEAL Team 6, which failed to capture him in a pre-dawn raid. The SEALs came out of the Indian Ocean in small boats, but were spotted as they moved toward the seaside compound where they believed Akrima lived. A firefight broke out. With the element of surprise gone, the SEALs had lost their chance to take him alive. The SEAL commander could have called in an airstrike in an attempt to kill Akrima, but there were too many civilians, including children, in the compound. Instead, he ordered his men to withdraw back to their boats and to a Navy ship offshore. There were no casualties among the SEALs. One or two of Akrima's men are believed to have been killed or wounded.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That's from the CBS Evening News last night. We're talking about the mission by our Navy SEALs. We're told SEAL Team 6. I don't know why we're told that, but we are told that. And we're also told, and we're told this by our military, that the SEALs retreated in a mission that has been planned for some time. The SEALs were led to believe, taken by surprise, that there were so many civilians, including children, present at the facility, at the villa, where they were trying to get their target, a senior planner for the Somali terror group known as Al-Shabaab, who, among other things, perpetrated the mall attack in Kenya. Let's listen to the final soundbite here on this CBS report on that Navy SEAL attack that was called off, basically, in midstream. Here's cut number 25.
The aborted raid came just 2 weeks after Al-Shabaab launched the attack on the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi, Kenya. But officials said the operation to snatch Akrima had been in the works long before that. Officials briefed on the operation said the SEAL commander made the right call in deciding to withdraw. The SEALs had not expected to find so many women and children, in effect human shields, inside the compound.
All right. That was David Martin, CBS News. Joining us right now is Scott Taylor, 8 years, a Navy SEAL, and he is now president of OPSEC. And OPSEC is a nonpartisan grassroots advocacy organization which is focused on protecting U.S. Special Operations Forces and national intelligence assets. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you for coming on. I do appreciate it. All right. Explain. First, let me ask you one question. There was a lot of criticism and parents of some SEALs who have been deceased, who were victims on that plane crash that took place on a Navy SEAL operation after they got bin Laden. Some people have said and have questioned, and so do I, Why do we need to know it was Navy SEAL Team 6? I mean, are we not getting too much information from our government, from our military, to put out there to the world, including our enemies, as to who did what, exactly how we did it?
Yeah, I mean, I could not agree more with you. There's no reason that you should know what specific unit was on a specific operation, whether it was in Somalia or Libya or anywhere else for that matter, because all they continue to do is put a potential target on folks' back. It's not too hard to put two and two together and figure out where these folks live or where their families live or where their kids go to school. So I think that the more that we talk about it, the more that we endanger lives, and it's a shame, basically.
All right, so I'm not crazy. All right, now, next. In the report that I just played, and the reason that they gave, and this is the military speaking, they called off their raid, or they retreated in Somalia after they came upon the villa that apparently this attack had been in place, or in the planning stages way before the mall attack in Kenya. It's been in place for some time, in the planning stages for some time. They retreated when they realized or saw that there were too many human shields, too many children and women, especially children. And I'm thinking, that's what our SEALs do, number one. And then I'm thinking, here again, we've now told every one of our enemies that if you're like Osama bin Laden or a leader of a terrorist group and you think that one day the U.S. might be coming for you, make sure you surround yourself with kids and women. I mean, am I out of my mind, or are they nuts?
No, you're not. I mean, we've been preaching about this for several years now with the Obama administration, with their consistent release of national security secrets and tactics and TTPs and all this stuff. And I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize.
And I'm not a rocket scientist.
and me either. But if I know exactly what my opponents are going to do, then I'm going to act in anticipation of what they're going to do. So, again, you're certainly not crazy, and it's something that we've been criticizing this administration for years now.
And why do you think they do this?
Man,
I mean, I know you're nonpartisan.
But I have no idea. You keep seeing the news reports. It's a senior official who's given the information, and quite frankly, my own personal opinion is the two operations that were just conducted were political. Just like the wading in about changing the name of the Redskins. I think it's political to provide a smokescreen for what the real issues are that are pissing people off in the nation, like the government shutdown and his refusal to negotiate and all that stuff. But I think that these things, and that's unfortunate and that's a strong statement, which means that he would risk lives to provide a political smokescreen, which is not unprecedented, of course, with world leaders and throughout history, but I just think it's a tragedy. It's something that shouldn't be happening.
We're talking to Scott Taylor, a Navy SEAL for 8 years, now president of OPSEC, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. You're just back from Egypt, correct?
Yes. Yeah. We just got back. I was with the Westminster Institute, a think tank out of D.C., on a delegation and we met with all the senior military officials in Egypt, the Christian Coptic Pope, the youth revolutionaries, the Constitutional Committee, the head of the evangelicals, Chamber of Commerce, all kinds of folks. It was a fascinating trip, very eye-opening, and I'm very happy to have gone on it.
Were you with my buddy Paul Vallely, General Vallely?
I was with the general.
There you go.
There, yep. Yeah, the general was there, and we had a really good group of former senior military and then academics as well, and it was a very interesting thing, and it sort of underscored my own opinion that the administration's foreign policy is kind of backwards, where we're sort of catering to people who don't like us, and then we're alienating the people who have had our backs for a long time.
All right, before I let you go, Scott, just tell me how much does this hamstring the special ops forces, the SEALs, when all this information is given out? Our enemies now know why we retreated. They now know, apparently, that if this holds, that if they surround themselves with quote-unquote human shields, we will retreat. We will not go after the target any longer. We'll back up. SEAL Team 6, naming the teams by name. How much does this hamper future operations, and how much danger does it put the current members of, let's say, SEAL Team 6 in?
Well, I think that, I have the utmost confidence in my peers for sure that they need to change tactics. They will. However, that takes a while to reverberate throughout the special ops community as far as changing tactics go. But again, I'll foot stomp on the fact that anytime you give out tactics and TTPs and you name the specific unit who conducted specific operations, you potentially put their lives in danger and other folks' lives in danger as well, too. So I think that what you've seen consistently over the past few years is this happening, and it's a tragedy, and it certainly pisses off everybody in special operations and their families.
Was that always the? I know it's mission by mission, I would imagine, but has that always been? Is it a rule of thumb that if we get to a place and our target, it's a house full of kids or a house full of families, yet we have a high-level target that we're going after? Is it? I guess it's left up to the commander on the scene, and it's his call if I'm correct. But if that is the case, what is the usual call in that circumstance?
Well, I'm certainly not going to talk about tactics. I apologize, but
no, that's okay. Maybe I'm sorry I asked you. Maybe go ahead.
No, it's okay. But I will say that like I said, I had the utmost confidence in my peers, and that whatever the call that the commander made on the ground at the time, looking through his eyes was probably the right one. So I'll just
fair enough.
I'll just say that.
Fair enough. I don't want to try to pressure you into doing something that we've already criticized the administration for doing. I was just curious if you noticed a sea change in policy, but that's fine. Your answer will suffice. Thank you very much, Scott. We really appreciate your service and your time with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Take care. My pleasure. Scott Taylor, ladies and gentlemen, former Navy SEAL for 8 years and now president of OPSEC, which basically looks out for the well-being of our special ops forces, our Navy SEALs around the world. If you care to weigh in, please do. 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. On this issue, do you expect our Navy SEALs to retreat because there's a lot of kids in the villa where we're going after a high target? And also, if you want to weigh in on the conversation that unfortunately it ended too soon with Gloria Allred because we were up against a hard break, if you envision yourself in the situation of that van driver or the SUV driver with his family in the car on the West Side Highway, and you're surrounded and you feel threatened, are you going to peel out even if it means you might hit somebody? And if you do hit somebody in that situation, as Gloria said the law requires you to do, would you get out of the vehicle and try to tend to the injured motorcycle rider? Or would you be afraid you'd get beaten to a pulp, which eventually happened to the driver anyway? 855-777-9660, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now, Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Constipation, gas, bloating, most people suffer through. But now there's a simple solution for occasional digestive problems called Back2Pro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Back2Pro is the fiber probiotic formula that supports healthy digestive and immune health. And it comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. Back2Pro contains 6 powerful strains of beneficial probiotic bacteria, dietary fiber, and bacteria-nourishing prebiotics, plus powerful antioxidants. Now you can receive a 30-day supply of Back2Pro. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit Back2Pro.com/special. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Improve your digestive health now. Learn how you can receive your 30-day supply at Back2Pro.com/special. That's BACTIPRO.com/special. Back2Pro.com/special.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. By the way, coming up in the next hour, we will be joined by Nick Tate. Nick Tate is the author of the Obamacare Survival Guide. The Obamacare Survival Guide is #1 on Amazon, #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. Newsmax says it is the best guide to help navigate through the swamp that is Obamacare, and that's my word, swamp. And Donald Trump endorses the book as well. So I need you to listen in the next hour as Nick Tate gives us an exclusive interview on how to prepare for what's ahead, what's started now, and what's going to be ahead for all of us, unfortunately, unless something is done to stop the train wreck that is Obamacare. All right. So, oh, by the way, if you want to find out more about it right now, you go to 311, Obamacare311.com, Obamacare311.com. Okay. I want you to listen to Wolf Blitzer talking about the two special op raids that took place over the weekend, and it was interesting to hear our guest, former SEAL Scott Taylor, say that he believed both those raids were politically motivated. They were done, the timing of them were political in nature, and that the president put American lives at risk by virtue of conducting a politically timed raid, two of them, one in Libya, one in Somalia. Wolf Blitzer. I mean, Wolf Blitzer. Could he be in love with Barack Obama anymore? Have you ever heard him speak about him? He kind of has a glow that comes all over him, an angelic glow. Whenever Wolf talks about the president of the United States. Yeah, we know what he's president of, Wolf. Thank you very much. Anyway, and it used to be George Bush. Anyway, quite a contrast. Listen to what he said about President Obama, comparing him to the former Prime Minister of Israel. Cut 16. Give a listen.
And I think he also was trying to send a message to Ayman al-Zawahiri, the new leader of al-Qaeda, used to be the number 2 under bin Laden, and others, especially those terrorists who killed the U.S. ambassador, Chris Stevens, in Benghazi, and 3 other Americans. The U.S. is going to be patient. The U.S. is watching. Just be ready. Be nervous the rest of your life, because the U.S. is not going to forget in order to either capture or assume. That was part of the thinking.
To send a very powerful message, and that's what they're saying now. They got one man, they didn't get the other, but they've been successful in sending that message.
Yeah, as soon as I heard that the president authorized these 2 missions, especially to get Libby 15 years after that, I thought this president was out channeling in Golda Meir, the late Israeli prime minister, after the Munich Olympic massacre. Sure. She called in all of her security commanders and said, whatever it takes, no matter how long, you will find and either capture or kill those responsible for killing those Israeli athletes.
All right. So Wolf Blitzer is making a great, first of all, don't get me sick. Don't make me sick. Golda Meir compared to Barack Obama. But even in the context of his comparison and his analogy, he's making a big leap of faith here. He's sitting on a huge assumption here that it was President Obama who decided between 2008 and last weekend to lay down the law, to call in his security force between 2008 and last weekend, to lay down the law, to call in his security force bombings. And I want them on a silver platter. We will never forget. Is that the implication, that it was Barack Obama? It wasn't Barack Obama who started the hunt for bin Laden. What makes you think it was Barack Obama who started? This guy was on the FBI's most wanted list, from what I understand. So what makes you think that that it was Barack Obama who has Golda Meir in him, a little Golda Meir in him, and laid down the law that America will never stop chasing these people? Now, I'll give credit where credit's due. It happened on his watch. But he said, Golda Meir, after the Munich massacre, called everybody in and said, we're going to hunt these people down if it takes forever. And he's crediting Obama with doing the same thing. Obama was, where was he in 1998? Was he even in Chicago? Obama was, where was he in 1998? Was he even in Chicago? This guy. I don't think Obama had anything to do with that. Again, not the actual capture of the successful raid in Libya, but the laying down of the law the way Golda Meir did. Obama didn't do that. That must have been done by Clinton or Bush. It's just, love that Obama. Love that Obama. All right. Now, you want to hear wacky? Remember Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney? I know the folks listening down in Atlanta know Cynthia McKinney, or they remember her. Anyway, here she is appearing on Syria. Remember her. Anyway, here she is appearing on Syria. Started Syria's war. Here's cut number 14. Let's give a listen.
Do you think that it really started by chance, or do you think that it has been a plot for this whole region, and especially Syria right now?
Well, I think a lot of things happened in 2001. So the crisis that confronts Syria today is not created in 2011. This is something that happened well in advance, a decade earlier.
Yes.
Remember what we were doing, what the world was doing in 2001.
Yes.
2001 was the year of the Durban World Conference Against Racism. And at that conference, people from all over the world gathered, and they talked about their grievances about the way the world is currently structured. And a part of that discussion was about Zionism.
Oh, Zionism. Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, it was a plot. The Syrian civil war was a plot, and it was about Zionism. And she went on to say, if you recall, I was there. I was there as a member of Congress. I represented the United States, so it's not quite accurate to say the United States wasn't there. This is insane. This woman, you know, what do you got to do? What do you got to do to prove you hate America? In my opinion, that's what she's doing. Why will she ever be allowed back in America? I don't even know where she was. I guess Syrian television. Maybe the Syria sent a crew to Cynthia McKinney. Why do I feel she went to Syria? She should stay in Syria. She belongs more in Syria. She'd be happier in Syria. It's really unfathomable. It really is. Cynthia McKinney, she every so often, she makes it back into the news for one reason or another. And I just thought we should bring it to you, and we did. Now, there's a story here that I'm trying to see if I could find. Yeah. All right. Well, there's more Obama. Remember, we told you at the beginning of the hour, he said, kidnap, hostage taking, whatever. Well, now he says he portrayed those opposed to raising the dead as kidnappers, arsonists. You're a deadbeat. It's just amazing. Just amazing. All right, folks, next hour, big hour. As I said, Nick Tate, author of the Obamacare Survival Guide, the New York Times bestseller, Amazon bestseller, #1 in both papers, both categories there. It will just educate you no end. You need to hear this, and you need to get the book. He'll be here. We'll also talk to a representative for blacks in law enforcement to discuss whether the woman in D.C. should have been shot and killed last week during that lockdown in Washington, D.C. Not shutdown, but lockdown. Remember that. And Congressman Louis Gohmert in the next hour as well. All of that and more will take place right here on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obamacare, President Obama's massive healthcare law, is taking effect this year. With over 15,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the Obamacare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. It's a step-by-step guide on how you can protect yourself. Already a New York Times bestseller, every American needs to get the Obamacare Survival Guide and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, fines, Medicare changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the Obamacare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores, or get our special offer at Obamacare311.com and you'll save $15. Go now to Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Do you suffer from joint discomfort? Contrary to what the experts may say, achy joints do not have to be a normal part of aging. Holistic doctor David Brownstein challenged conventional thinking to focus on natural solutions for joint health. As a result, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Limbex, the premium nutritional supplement specifically formulated to support healthy joints and connective tissue. It's a new joint breakthrough formula containing 11 hand-picked nutrients. Learn more at limbexjoint.com/special and take the 30-day Healthy Joint Challenge. That's a 30-day supply of the Limbex Joint Supplement. All you pay is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Happy, Healthy Joints at Any Age. You can do something about joint discomfort and flexibility. Learn how you can try it for 30 days at limbexjoint.com/special. That's LIMBEX joint.com/special. limbexjoint.com/special.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Economic concerns are growing ahead of a potential default on U.S. debt obligations, and now leaders from all over the world are looking to Washington to find a solution. But the government shutdown continues as the debt limit approaches. But there may have been a minor breakthrough today. According to staff members from John Boehner's office, the Speaker of the House called President Obama to try and work things out.
I want to have a conversation. I'm not drawing any lines in the sand. It's time for us to just sit down and resolve our differences.
We believe deeply that Obamacare is already saving lives and will save many more in the future. But we're willing to work with Republicans to change it if they think they can make it better. We want to do that.
Meanwhile, overseas, China, America's largest creditor, is calling on the U.S. to resolve the political stalemate in order to protect its investments and avoid hurting the global economy. Also in Washington, protesters gathered outside the Supreme Court today, urging Supreme Court justices to shoot down a case that would allow more money into political campaigns. The court heard arguments today in a case brought by Alabama businessman Sean McClutchin. The Republican activist wants the justices to overturn current limits on campaign contributions, arguing it violates free speech.
Being able to spread your political message is extremely important, and it's fundamental. That's why it's the First Amendment.
Right now, $123,200 is the maximum an individual can give to federal candidates, party committees, or political action committees within one election cycle. If the court sides with McClutchin, one person could spend more than $3 million in one election cycle. But supporters of campaign finance limits believe that would open the door to corruption. We'll all have to stay tuned on this. The court is not expected to render its decision until sometime next year. And it has now been 1 year since a young girl was nearly assassinated by the Taliban for supporting education rights for girls in Afghanistan. Malala Yousafzai gained worldwide attention while she recovered in a London hospital earlier this year, and she says her determination to stand up for women's rights today is stronger than ever before. She's also considered one of the frontrunners to win this year's Nobel Peace Prize. And more Nobel news now. Two physicists win the prize for discovering the so-called God particle earlier this year. That discovery, made by Peter Higgs of Britain and Francois Englert of Belgium, helps explain the creation of mass. Higgs came up with a theory in the 1960s, but it was not until last year that a team of researchers were able to prove the tiny God particle actually existed. And scientists say the universe might have never formed if it weren't for that particle, also known as Higgs boson. Cool stuff there. Coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, Congresswoman Lynn Jenkins joins us for a Newsmax exclusive, and she fires back at Democrats about claims they are making during this shutdown. And with just 2 weeks to go before the U.S. reaches its debt limit, is Washington any closer to a deal? Plus, see new images of the damage left behind after severe weather rips through the East Coast next.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5-ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at aftbook.com. That's aftbook.com.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
And welcome back. Severe weather caused power outages and uprooted trees along the East Coast Monday. The Washington, D.C. metro area saw some of the worst of the weather, but fortunately no buildings were severely damaged. Also in New Jersey, about 1,400 people lost power when that same storm system moved through that area. Well, Democrats continue to try and call out Republicans and force House Speaker John Boehner to call a vote on a so-called clean CR. Both sides already agreed on spending levels for a funding bill that passed the Senate. But Congresswoman Lynn Jenkins disputed that claim during this Newsmax exclusive.
Absolutely not, because we still are running deficits. The House passed a budget that balances in 10 years. And what we would like to do is sit down and have a discussion with the Senate, whose budget, again, never balanced, about how we can get to balance.
And this has been your Newsmax Now update for October 8th. For more exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax TV and Newsmax.com. I'm John Bachman. Take care.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Steve Malzberg Show, Tuesday edition. In case you didn't know, John Boehner is going to respond to President Obama later this hour. I'm sure it's going to be the same thing, you know. He's going to respond to President Obama later this hour. I'm sure it's going to be the same thing, you know. And I'm sure the heels will be dug in even further. If something other than that is said, we will let you know immediately. 76% of Americans think President and the Dems should compromise. Whoa. CNN reporting that 76% of Americans think the president and the Democrats should compromise. Whoa. Is this a dream? Am I dreaming or am I awake? I started the last hour by giving you some poll numbers that 63% of Americans, according to CNN, blame the Republicans, 57 the Democrats, and 53 Obama. And I said in the wake of the 57 the Democrats and 53 Obama, and I said in the wake of the John Boehner, this and that, you would think the numbers would be totally different. And now, wow, 76, did I say, percent think that the president and the Democrats should compromise with Republicans. I guess so that they can't compromise with each other. That is huge. Republicans may be winning this PR war, but I got to tell you, I don't think Barack Obama cares. That's what scares me, and we'll talk more about that. Okay. Yesterday I told you about Kentucky. How if you go online to sign on for Obamacare Kentucky style, they tell you online. There's a warning. You click on the warning. They could use your information for anything. They could give your information to almost anyone, including overseas entities. I read it on air yesterday. Well, now Maryland's healthcare connection, the state's Obamacare marketplace, which has been plagued by many delays in the first days of enrollment, if users are able to endure the loading delays, they're presented with the website's privacy policy. And if you click on that, you'll see the fine print. And if you go on to read, you need to check off the box that says you agree with their privacy policy. And the privacy policy says, basically, that your personal data in the state of Maryland can be used for law enforcement and audit activities. This is the headline on Drudge right now with a siren in red. Your personal data in Maryland, and who knows how many other states, that's what you got to check, can be used for law enforcement and audit activities. We're going to talk about this with Nick Tate, author of Obamacare, the Obamacare Survival Guide, New York Times and Amazon bestseller, when we join him in a few minutes. I'll read you the language here at the end. Any information you provide or use in your application will be used to carry out the functions of Maryland Health Connection. The only exception, it says, to this policy is that we may share information provided in your application with the appropriate authorities for law enforcement and audit activities. Hey, that's what this health care plan was all about anyway. An invasion of privacy, taking away personal choices, and having the government control us. That's what this was all about. So you go sign up in Maryland if you want law enforcement and who else and the IRS to have all your information. Now, you might say, I have nothing to hide. Neither do I. But what kind of privacy is this? Okay. Kathleen Sebelius was on with Jon Stewart yesterday. Kathleen Sebelius, HHS secretary, who has the authority within Obamacare to basically do anything she wants, make any policy she wants. So Jon Stewart asks her, why can't you grant the one-year waiver to individuals the way you granted it to businesses? Now, Jon Stewart hates Republicans. That's pretty obvious to me. But here he's taking up the Republicans' cause and asking her. So here's cut 22.
How many have signed up thus far?
And asking her. So here's cut 22.
How many have signed up thus far?
On the web, on the phone, we'll be giving monthly reports. But I can tell you we've had not only lots of web hits, hundreds of thousands of accounts created. We have
so it's
lots
hundreds of thousands of people have signed up.
Of accounts created, which means that then they're going to go shopping. John, this is like a kayak site where you might check out what plane you want to get on. The good news is you don't have to buy it today.
Right. Yeah. Come back to it. They know how many people have signed up, and they're just like Treasury Secretary Lou with Chris Wallace. They're not telling. They're not telling. It's an embarrassment for them. Here's cut 23.
I still don't understand why individuals have to sign up and businesses don't. Because if the businesses, if she's saying, well, they get a delay because that doesn't matter anyway because they already give health care, then you think to yourself, well, it, then why do they have to sign up at all? But then I think to myself, like, well, maybe she's just lying to me? Just to me? But join us tomorrow at 11. Here it is, your moment is in.
All right. So this was at the end of the interview when he came back from commercial break, and he still doesn't understand what she's talking about and says, maybe she's lying. Maybe she's lying to me. Because he asked her, why can't you just waive the individual mandate for a year the way you did for businesses? And she gave some cockamamie answers. She also claimed that part-time employment is not on the increase in the United States. He said businesses are cutting hours down to 30 hours for employees so they won't have to pay into Obamacare. Oh, that's not true, she said. It is true. Folks, they lie like they breathe. Obama, Lou, Sebelius, you know, sky is green, grass is blue, and if you disagree, there's something wrong with you. I just made a poem. We're coming back. Nick Tate, author of the Obamacare Survival Guide, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
A hot new book by Craig Smith argues that the greenback is now at high risk thanks to our spendthrift politicians. Mark Twain said, "The truth is stranger than fiction." The same is true of the Great Debasement, which began a century ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. The result, today's dollar retains just 2 cents of its original buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history, creating in essence a fourth branch of government. Learn what must be done to preserve your money if the dollar crashes. The good news is Swiss America is offering the Great Debasement, a $20 value free of charge for this special radio offer.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. Call Swiss America now for a free DVD. 800-818-3967.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting.
Who is LigNet?
LigNet staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee Peter Hoekstra also join our advisory board staff.
What is LigNet's mission?
Every day our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events.
What are the benefits of joining LigNet?
There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep
breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. This is a segment I've been waiting for quite some time. We are joined right now by the author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, also #1 on Amazon. It is the Obamacare Survival Guide. I hold it up in my hands, as you can see, those of you watching it at Newsmax. And it is the Affordable Care Act, what it means for you and for health care. It has been praised by the likes of Donald Trump. Newsmax says it is the best guide out there to help get you through and how to navigate Obamacare. And Nick Tate joins us right now. Hello, sir.
Well, hey, Steve. Good to be with you.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. You know, it's amazing. I just did a story out of Maryland where if you sign up for their version of Obamacare, their state health care plan, they tell you that the information could be sent to law enforcement and to auditors. If you did it in Kentucky, I guess I did a story, basically the same thing. They could send your information almost anywhere they want, including overseas. I mean, that's just one aspect of Obamacare that people probably aren't aware of as they go maybe looking for a health care plan.
Well, that's one of the concerns. They ask, the federal authorities ask for a tremendous amount of personal information, not just your income and what you do for a living, but what your health status is. Maybe if you've ever taken an antidepressant or have something that you would rather not be public, they ask for that information. It's part of the application process. You know, what I would say to you, though, is congratulations if you're able to actually get on the plan and see what's available. I've been trying for a week, and it keeps knocking me off. I can't even get on to see what the options are in Florida.
Well, right. Kathleen Sebelius was asked yesterday by Jon Stewart how many people have signed up. She wouldn't give the number. Jack Lew, the Treasury Secretary, was asked by how many people have signed up. She wouldn't give the number. Jack Lew, the Treasury Secretary, was asked by. This is overloaded from people who are curious.
Well, there has been a lot of interest in it. My suspicion is that a lot of the people that they're talking about who are trying to log on are actually reporters trying to figure out, what the deals are, what the options are. But, that's the thing. Part of what we're trying to do with the book is let people know that, whether you like it or not, here's the way you can navigate your way through and protect yourself as best you can. That's really what our goal is with the book.
All right. So, let's talk about someone who picks up the Obamacare Survival Guide, as so many millions of people have done. Tell me how it's formatted, because I know it's formatted to be very user-friendly and to be able to, people could find exactly what they're looking for their particular question at the time.
Well, this is a tremendously complicated law, 500 provisions, 2,500 pages, some 20,000 pages of regulations at last count. So there really is no one-size-fits-all solution to how to pick health and health care and insurance. So what we try to do is we've broken it down into specific chapters that appeal to and provide information and tips and advice for folks, whether you're a college student or a senior on Medicare, someone who runs your own business, or an independent contractor, head of your household. We try to provide very specific information because, as I say, there really is no one-size-fits-all solution to how to pick health care in this new landscape that's been created by Obamacare. And this is really one of those cases, I don't want to use a cliche, but what you don't know really can hurt you if you're not aware of what the programs are and what some of the mandates and the taxes may be.
No, absolutely. And the great thing about the Obamacare Survival Guide by Nick Tate, our guest right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, not only does it have a roadmap and information and lays out what you need to know for individuals and civilians like me, but also for the medical community, for medical professionals, and talks about the rule changes that they will need to know about and how the exchanges and everything that Obamacare mandates will affect them, correct?
Absolutely. Big changes are coming for healthcare. And, in some ways, people who work in the industry have some job security because they're going to be some of the guideposts that will help people to manage their way through. Everything changes. Medicare has changed. Medicaid has changed. There are new subsidies that people can qualify for, but it's still going to cost folks because they have to have insurance through some means. So, I don't think it's an overstatement to say that virtually everyone in every industry in this country will be touched in some way by these changes.
Absolutely correct. And we should point out that if you are interested, you could get this in any bookstore, at Amazon as well, and Obamacare311.com, Obamacare311.com is the website where you could go find out more about the book and order it for yourself. The book talks about, and people need to understand this, Nick, and you pointed out and spell it out so well in the book, that Medicare, long-term care, small businesses especially, they're going to be severely affected. So talk a little bit about those three aspects of life and how Obamacare might impact each one.
Well, Obamacare is a plan that doesn't just have an effect beginning January 1 when you will have to have insurance in this country or pay a fine. It really is a 10-year plan, and it affects everything from Medicaid and Medicare to individual health care. So in the short run, there are some nice sweeteners and benefits that the Obamacare authors have given to seniors in terms of closing the prescription drug donut hole and providing for preventive care. But in the long term, over 10 years, there's about $716 billion in budget cuts that are going to come down just as the number of seniors in this country qualify for Medicare. Something like 10,000 Americans a day are going to turn 65 in the next year or two and qualify for Medicare. And as that number rises, the amount of money going into Medicare is actually going to be held down. So the concern is, by many critics, that there are going to be some impacts on benefits. So you really need to stay informed. If you're a senior and you think that, or hope one day to soon be a senior, you really need to stay informed because there are some big changes that are coming over the next 10 years. That's why I say, the take-home message of this book really is you must be a savvy consumer. You can no longer just simply rely on what your company or your doctor or your insurer tells you that the story is. You really need to figure out what your best options are.
We've been told so much about Obamacare, the positives, and you point out in the book, to be fair, in the book Obamacare, the Obamacare Survival Guide, Nick, you point out that there are some positives, and I've said all along that Republicans should draw up their own plan, and instead of 2,800 pages, they should hold up 1 or 2 pages and say, here, the closing of the donut hole, you want to keep your kids on your insurance till they're 26, no pre-existing condition penalty, here's our plan, and you do point out the positives, or what many would consider positives, in the book as well.
Well, you know, this is one of those topics. Obamacare is certainly a hot-button issue. People have strong opinions on either side. What we really tried to do is not take a kind of partisan approach one way or the other. We wanted to say, whether you like it or not, here's what's in the law, here's how it will likely affect you, and here are the changes that are coming your way. It is going to result in some massive changes in healthcare, so here's what they are. We tried as best we could to sidestep the politics. Now, I have my own opinions. Everyone does, but what we try to do is really provide information that would allow people to move forward. You know, you're making a good point, though. I mean, Bill Clinton, I will say, a month ago was tasked by the White House to give a speech to make the case for Obamacare, and while he certainly did that, and you know, as we all know, Bill is somebody who, the former president, is somebody who sometimes speaks out of turn or acts out of turn, as the case may be. But even he was saying that what we need to do is figure out how to move forward and figure out what really works in healthcare reform, bring both sides of the aisle together, both sides of the divide on Obamacare, and say, well, we like this, we don't like that. This works, it's demonstrated. Let's see if we can fix some of the problems. So I'm thinking if even Bill Clinton will step forward and say we need to find a better way than the warring that's been happening, it suggests to me that that's the way we have to go. But based on what we heard today from the president talking, and I just don't see that kind of kumbaya moment coming anytime soon.
Neither do I. We're talking to Nick Tate, the author of the Obamacare Survival Guide, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. One more question. We have 2 minutes left. Prescription drugs. Practically everybody in this country is on one prescription drug or another for whatever reason. You have you detail it brilliantly in the book. Talk about briefly in about a minute and a half some of the changes as far as prescription drugs are concerned.
Well, there are a couple changes I would mention. First of all, there are some new benefits for seniors in prescription drug coverage, but there are some losses that folks will also experience if you have flexible spending accounts or HSAs. There are new limits on what you can use that money for. These are for out-of-pocket expenses for things like drugs. So as more people are taking medications as we get older as a society, the aging of the baby boomers, I suspect the increasing costs for drugs and insurance and healthcare in general are going to continue to rise. You know, there's really nothing in Obamacare that holds down costs for drugs or healthcare in the long term or even in the short term, and there's nothing that prevents insurers from passing on those costs to businesses and individuals in terms of higher premiums. And in fact, that's already happened in the 3 years since Obamacare has passed.
Right.
Both costs and insurance have gone up, and I suspect that's going to continue.
All right, Nick, it's the most comprehensive, easy to understand, complete and thorough explanation and really survival guide of Obamacare, and I think everyone needs one of these in their home. It's the Obamacare Survival Guide, the Affordable Care Act, and what it means for you and your health care by Nick Tate. And you could get it at Amazon or the bookstores, and, of course, at Obamacare311.com. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right, here he is, best-selling author, #1 in the New York Times, #1 on Amazon. And Newsmax says that it is the first and best roadmap for you to understand the new law, and every American is affected by Obamacare, so the book is essential to you and your family. I couldn't agree more on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate can... That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really?
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent. We're now
very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what says are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what says.
I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
John Boehner is talking right now. He said that he had a pleasant conversation with the president earlier, but was disappointed that he will not negotiate. Let's pick up John Boehner right now as he speaks. John Boehner right now as he speaks. You get him? We will get him. He's talking about wanting to negotiate with the president and how disappointed he is.
But when it comes to the debt limit, again, over the last 40 years, 27 times the debt limit has been used to carry significant policy changes that would, in fact, reduce spending and put us on a saner fiscal path. President Reagan sat down with Tip O'Neill in the 1980s. President Bush in 1990 went out to Andrews Air Force Base and got into a long debate and negotiation with Democrats here in Congress. Bill Clinton went through this 3 times in the 1990s. President Obama and I sat down in 2011 and had a serious negotiation. And while the president today suggested that I walked away from the deal, I would have to remind him that I was in the Oval Office along with the majority leader, Eric Cantor, when we in fact had an agreement that 2 days later the president walked away from. But there was in fact another negotiation in 2011 that resulted in really the largest deficit reduction bill that we've seen here in the last 30 years. But in 2010, when Democrats controlled the Congress and President Obama was in the White House, what happened was a group of moderate Democrats in the House wouldn't agree to raise the debt limit without a negotiation. So there was a negotiation then amongst Democrats over raising the debt ceiling. The long and short of it is there's going to be a negotiation here. We can't raise the debt ceiling without doing something about what's driving us to borrow more money and to live beyond our means. The idea that we should continue to spend money that we don't have and give the bill to our kids and our grandkids would be wrong. This isn't about me, and frankly, it's not about Republicans. This is about saving the future for our kids and our grandkids. And the only way this is going to happen is to, in fact, have a conversation. So it's time to have that conversation. Not next week, not next month. The conversation ought to start today. And I'm hopeful that whether it's the president or Democrat leaders here in the Congress, we can begin that conversation.
Can you tell us, please, what would you say to military families who've just been denied death benefits due to the shutdown?
Last week, the Congress passed the Pay Our Military Benefits Act. We gave broad authority to the Department of Defense to pay all kinds of bills, including this. And frankly, I think it's disgraceful that they're withholding these benefits. But again, tomorrow, the House is going to act specifically on this, and I hope the president will sign it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have John Boehner. Will the Democrats take him up on his call to negotiate, either the president or the leaders in Congress? I don't know. But I fear that this president will let it go down to the end or possibly into default. That's what I think. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. Let's switch topics. We'll be joined by Congressman Louis Gohmert of Texas in a little while later in this hour. But right now, we are joined by Ronald Hampton, the D.C. representative for blacks in law enforcement, to weigh in on what happened last Thursday, as we all watched in horror, as there was a lockdown in Washington, D.C., and a car, as we saw in the videotape over and over and over, a car with turned out an unarmed black woman in it, mother who had her 1-year-old or 2-year-old daughter in the car with her, was gunned down by the police after she refused to stop. Joining us now, as I said, is our guest, Ronald Hampton. Hey, Ronald, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. How are you today?
I'm fine. Okay, so I know that your group has been outspoken about wanting answers. What kind of answers have you gotten? I know that the family, who's from Brooklyn, I'm from Brooklyn, the family said that when they went down to identify the body, they didn't even see the body. They had to look at a picture. Where are we right now, and what are you looking for going forward?
Well, we're looking for some answers. Simply, there should be an investigation, and there is an investigation going on. So hopefully, within the next, I would think, 10 to 15 days, that we would have some answers to some of the questions. You know, why was it necessary to shoot? Does the Capitol Hill Police, along with the Uniform Division of the Secret Service, what are their policies when it comes to shooting at moving vehicles? Do they have a chase policy? Do they have a policy as it relates to should officers stand in front of the car or stand behind the car? Because most municipal police departments don't shoot at moving vehicles, nor they also train their people not to stand in front of cars, because when a person is trying to get away and they're in a car, you don't stand in front of the car because you're putting yourself in danger when you do that. So there are a lot of questions that I think that should be asked, and answers should be forthcoming after they get into or complete the investigation.
All right, but let me play devil's advocate here for a second. As it turned out, she was an unarmed black woman with a kid in the car. However, we know about her problems and saying, according to her boyfriend, that Obama was talking to her and all this kind of stuff. But here, let's just say there was a terrorist or a wannabe terrorist with loaded to the teeth in the car, who did exactly the same thing that she did. The cops at the time don't know what they're dealing with. They don't know if there's explosives in the car, if the guy's got a rifle, if the guy's got a cannon, what he's capable of. If maybe there's another car that's going to work in conjunction. I mean, how could they? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's why you follow procedures, because regardless of what it is that's in the car. Say, for example, if the car was loaded with explosives, then you're shooting at the car might have a tendency then to explode if that was the case. So that's why you follow procedure. But first of all, before you know whether or not they violated procedure, you have to understand or know what the procedures are as it relates to shooting at moving vehicles, jumping in front of moving cars, and all those kind of things. And as I said, I know as a retired former Metropolitan Police officer, we had policies that said that you couldn't do those kind of things. So I don't know what the policy is for the U.S. Capitol Police or for the Uniform Division of the Secret Service, but those are the kind of things that you don't do. So, and when you talk about the example that you use, you don't want to be shooting at a car that may have explosives in it because you could set the explosives.
Well, that's a good point. But so right. you're looking for, you don't know what the Capitol Police and Secret Service procedures are. Do you think it's wise for especially the Secret Service or maybe even the Capitol Police? You know, I just had a former Navy SEAL on, and he's dumbfounded that they told us that the SEAL raid into into Somalia was called off when they saw that there was too many kids around the target that they were going for, so they retreated. And he's saying, well, now you're sending a message to every enemy we have: just surround yourself with kids and children, and we won't come get you. So I mean, so is it?
I don't know if let me say this. I don't know if I would subscribe to that, because that was a situation, and usually in those situations, just like in law enforcement situations, there's somebody on the ground who makes a decision about whether.
But my point is, I'm not here to debate that. My point is, going further, if we know, if the Secret Service comes forth and says, here's exactly what we do given every situation, here's our policies, same with the Capitol Police, isn't that a tip-off to a potential terrorist?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think so, because most policies, as it relates to how a police department operates, are public record in the beginning already. Those policies that are secret are generally, and as a matter of fact, those policies are available for the public to look at. Those that are somewhat secret, I guess really secret, they are redacted, but you could get a copy of those things, and so you can get that information. We're not giving away, or the police department is not giving away any secrets. That is not the case, but the agency has to have some operating procedure as it relates to certain things. So clearly, you don't want to endanger the public's life. Say, I'm just looking at the film on TV when all of this started.
Right.
And the officers are shooting at the car and all that. There were innocent bystanders on the other side of the car, across the street and in the areas. When you're shooting at a moving car, bullets have a tendency to bounce off of the car simply because it's moving.
Right. All right. So
not because it's sitting still. So I mean, you can't catch the criminal and then endanger everybody else's life around that.
Right. All right. So briefly, you're looking. Who are you speaking with to try to get answers, and when do you think you'll get some?
No, there's an attorney, Mr. Eric Saunders, who is representing the family, and then their family representatives, and they will be the ones who will be in the receipt of all of this information.
Gotcha. Ronald, thank you very much. A pleasure talking to you, sir.
The same here. Thank you.
Take care. Ronald Hampton, ladies and gentlemen, D.C. representative for Blacks in Law Enforcement, here on the Steve Malzberg Show, talking about Miriam Carey, who was shot by law enforcement last Thursday on the mall in D.C. Joining us after the break will be Congressman Louis Gohmert. He'll comment on what the president had to say today, comment on what John Boehner just had to say. All that right here, the place to be. The Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Do you have trouble remembering things you've known for years? Do you want to maintain your mental edge, support your memory, focus, and attention? After extensive research, Dr. Russell Blaylock discovered 4 essential nutrients that help sustain optimal brain function. Dr. Russell Blaylock then personally formulated Crescio, the dietary supplement containing these 4 brain boosters that promote brain cognitive health, improve learning and retention. Crescio supports brain circulation and provides antioxidant protection. And now you can receive a 30-day supply of Crescio. All you pay is a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit Crescio.com/special. Act now and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, Nature's Brain Boosters, Essential Nutrients for Peak Mental Performance. Give your brain the healthy support it needs. Learn how you can receive your 30-day supply at Crescio.com/special. That's CRESCEO.com/special. Crescio.com/special.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book.
Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or low minimum payments, and before you know it, you owe thousands of dollars in credit card debt. It has happened to millions of good people just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more in credit card debt can cut their credit card payments up to half and even reduce or eliminate interest charges altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments. Call 800-613-3159 now. The call and information are free. We've helped over 500,000 people with their credit card debt, and now we can help you. Call 800-613-3159 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-613-3159. That's 800-613-3159. Again, 800-613-3159.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
This morning I had a chance to speak with Speaker Boehner, and I told him what I've been saying publicly, that I am happy to talk with him and other Republicans about anything. Not just issues I think are important, but also issues that they think are important. But I also told him that having such a conversation, talks, negotiations, shouldn't require hanging the threats of a government shutdown or economic chaos over the heads of the American people.
All right, that's the president earlier today at a press conference. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. John Boehner responded a little while ago saying we need to talk. Joining us now is our friend, Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert. Hello, Congressman. How are you, sir?
Well, as far as I know, okay, Steve. But it's amazing. You know, he's been saying for ever since the shutdown and before the shutdown that he's willing to talk, but he will not negotiate on anything. And he's the one that keeps bringing up the threat of the default and that kind of stuff. You know, it's ridiculous to have a president that is trying to inflict as much hurt on the American people as possible, and that's what we got now.
Well, I'm glad you said that, and let me take it further. What's to stop this president, who admittedly, glad you said that. Let me take it further. What's to stop this president, who admittedly, you in the House have passed to help kids with cancer, to help military families get the money. We heard today they're being denied the $100,000 for fallen heroes so they could bury them and take care of their needs.
And actually, there was enough authority in the bill that was passed and signed into law. They can do that. But just like the defense secretary is the one that refused to bring back on 400,000 civilian workers to help the military. There was authority for that in the bill that was passed. He played games with that. I mean, these guys are intentionally doing things.
All right. Well, let me pick up on that and let me take that further. We know what they're doing. We know what Obama's telling them to do, and we see the results. I think this president is fundamentally different than other presidents, and I think
no other president's ever done it. You're exactly right.
But I think we're going into this with the president who we know has called the Constitution a flawed document, who has whose mentor was a radical street organizer. I mean, do you believe that this president will let this country face the disaster that it will face if the debt ceiling is not, if we default, quote unquote? Do you believe he will take it that far and inflict the pain to a much greater extent than he's inflicting it now?
Well, I think that's a possibility when you look at what he has done so far. He forced through an Obamacare bill that a majority of Americans did not want. He could see that it was going to cause great pain and suffering to even try to get it implemented. As he explained to a lady in the White House during the White House town hall, maybe we're better off telling your mom instead of a pacemaker, you get a pain pill.
Right.
I mean, this is a president who's willing to say, not only do, but to say publicly he's willing to do these things. And he and Harry Reid, as Harry Reid, you call it a gaffe in Washington. In Washington, as you know, Steve, a gaffe is defined as when you accidentally tell the truth. When Harry Reid said, why would we do that to help one child with cancer? I mean, they're really exposing. They don't mind seeing America suffer. And when you know, as I know you do, that we have enough money coming in every week to pay our debt, to keep from defaulting. Now, we may have to keep some folks furloughed because, as we know, now 94% of the EPA is non-essential. We may have to ask some folks that are non-essential to stay home for a while longer, but there is no reason we should ever default on our debt unless the President and the Treasury Secretary conspire to make us default. But now that we've seen how much money, well, we don't know for sure how much money we're asking. We've got letters, we've got inquiries out, trying to find out how much did you spend to close down open-air monuments and parks and roads that you don't spend a dime of money on. How much did you spend to close things that don't cost you a dime? But we know he is willing to spend money just to inflict hurt that doesn't even cost us any money to leave open. And so it's hard to say what people like that would be willing to do. And I think it has more to do with Chicago thuggery. It's Al Capone was willing to make people hurt if they didn't go along with the proposals. And it's just amazing to see this kind of thing play out on a national stage by national leaders, including Harry Reid.
I couldn't agree with you more. We're talking to Congressman Louis Gohmert on the Steve Malzberg Show. You know, CNN keeps saying they did a count. The president keeps saying if only a clean resolution, a clean CR was put on the floor of the House and it would pass. And CNN said they did a survey showing that 18 Republicans would join all 200 Democrats in the House, and that would give them one more vote than needed to pass a clean CR. Boehner says that's not going to happen, but there also has to be some kind of official request, and no Republican has come forward and made that official request. So do they have the 18 Republicans?
No, they actually do not have. And let's be clear, Steve, there's no such thing as a clean CR. We know there are vast amounts of waste, fraud, and abuse every year. And so for the president to demand, you give me my big sack of cash, you don't put any requirements on it, as the Constitution says. We're supposed to decide what we fund, what we do not fund. He just wants his big sack of cash, and forget the Constitution. We're moving toward monarchy here, where we want the money, no strings attached. Well, the Constitution attaches strings, but there's plenty of pork, there's plenty of lard. There is no such thing as a clean CR. It will be dirty, nasty, porkified budget or appropriation, and so we have an obligation to try to do what we can to cut some of the waste, fraud, and abuse.
Let me run one more by you. Michelle Bachmann had talked about this, and we had a guest yesterday, an orthodontist down in Florida, who's actually suing through Judicial Watch because you guys don't have standing, apparently, to do it. What about giving him a CR that says all of Obamacare must be enforced as the law is written? He keeps saying it's the law of the land. The left keeps saying it's the law of the land. It was passed by Obama, signed by the Congress, upheld by the Supreme Court. We had 2 elections on it. It's the law of the land. Well, get him in his own game. Take away the delay of the business mandate. Take away the exemptions that he's given.
Exactly,
Give him a CR with that attached that the whole law must be implemented as written when it was supposed to be. Would you do that?
Actually, he will not enforce it as it's passed. And the only way we can make that happen is what we're doing right now. We're not giving you a maximum appropriation of everything until you start following the law. And so, he's already proven.
No, I know, but if you make him sign that and the public is focused on that attention, and he says, "Okay, I'll do it," then he's going to have to do it. Let him turn it.
Isn't he? Not any more than he does right now.
Yeah, I know, but
Steve.
that'll
He's
focus the public attention on it at least.
It's already the law of the land, but it was not affirmed by the United States. The United States Supreme Court said that as it's written.
Congressman, I know I got to stop you there. I got to stop you there.
It's unconstitutional as a penalty. We'll rewrite it, call
as
it
a tax, right?
But it's not constitutional the way
all right,
it's written.
Congressman, we'll speak to you soon. Thank you, my friend.
All right, Steve.
Take care. Up against a hard break. Steve Malzberg, Louis Gohmert on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD-IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Economic concerns are growing ahead of a potential default on U.S. debt obligations, and now leaders from all over the world are looking to Washington to find a solution. But the government shutdown continues as the debt limit approaches. But there may have been a minor breakthrough today. According to staff members from John Boehner's office, the Speaker of the House called President Obama to try and work things out.
I want to have a conversation. I'm not drawing any lines in the sand. It's time for us to just sit down and resolve our differences.
We believe deeply that Obamacare is already saving lives and will save many more in the future. But we're willing to work with Republicans to change it if they think they can make it better. We want to do that.
Meanwhile, overseas, China, America's largest creditor, is calling on the U.S. to resolve the political stalemate in order to protect its investments and avoid hurting the global economy. Also in Washington, protesters gathered outside the Supreme Court today, urging Supreme Court justices to shoot down a case that would allow more money into political campaigns. The court heard arguments today in a case brought by Alabama businessman Sean McClutchan. The Republican activist wants the justices to overturn current limits on campaign contributions, arguing it violates free speech.
Being able to spread your political message is extremely important, and it's fundamental. That's why it's the First Amendment.
Right now, $123,200 is the maximum an individual can give to federal candidates, party committees, or political action committees within one election cycle. If the court sides with McClutchan, one person could spend more than $3 million in one election cycle. But supporters of campaign finance limits believe that would open the door to corruption. We'll all have to stay tuned on this. The court is not expected to render its decision until sometime next year. And it has now been 1 year since a young girl was nearly assassinated by the Taliban for supporting education rights for girls in Afghanistan. Malala Yousafzai gained worldwide attention while she recovered in a London hospital earlier this year, and she says her determination to stand up for women's rights today is stronger than ever before. She's also considered one of the frontrunners to win this year's Nobel Peace Prize. And more Nobel news now. Two physicists win the prize for discovering the so-called God particle earlier this year. That discovery, made by Peter Higgs of Britain and Francois Englert of Belgium, helps explain the creation of mass. Higgs came up with a theory in the 1960s, but it was not until last year that a team of researchers were able to prove the tiny God particle actually existed. And scientists say the universe might have never formed if it weren't for that particle, also known as Higgs boson. Cool stuff there. Coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, Congresswoman Lynn Jenkins joins us for a Newsmax exclusive, and she fires back at Democrats about claims they are making during this shutdown. And with just 2 weeks to go before the U.S. reaches its debt limit, is Washington any closer to a deal? Plus, see new images of the damage left behind after severe weather rips through the East Coast next.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. Yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers, too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
And welcome back. Severe weather caused power outages and uprooted trees along the East Coast Monday. The Washington, D.C. metro area saw some of the worst of the weather, but fortunately no buildings were severely damaged. Also in New Jersey, about 1,400 people lost power when that same storm system moved through that area. Well, Democrats continue to try and call out Republicans and force House Speaker John Boehner to call a vote on a so-called clean CR. Both sides already agreed on spending levels for a funding bill that passed the Senate. But Congresswoman Lynn Jenkins disputed that claim during this Newsmax exclusive.
Absolutely not, because we still are running deficits. The House passed a budget that balances in 10 years. And what we would like to do is sit down and have a discussion with the Senate, whose budget, again, never balanced, about how we can get to balance.
And this has been your Newsmax Now update for October 8th. For more exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax TV and Newsmax.com. I'm John Bachman. Take care.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Been a busy show, been a busy day. John Boehner, no unconditional surrender. And, of course, from the president, we had more of the same. He's willing to talk about anything with anybody. But first, you give me what I want. First, give me an unconditional, raise of the debt limit. Or secondly, give me that. First, give me get the government up and running without any preconditions tied to it. So he wants to set a precedent. This president, it'll be a presidential precedent. He wants to set a precedent. See, I messed myself up. Whereby he would make it that no longer would there be any negotiations over the debt ceiling, notwithstanding the fact that, as we've documented, this has happened before with almost every president. Joining us right now is the former senator from the state of Pennsylvania, former presidential candidate, and I believe future presidential candidate, Rick Santorum. Hello, sir.
Making my announcements for me.
I don't know, because I'm hoping you'll say, Steve, you're right. It just sounds so right that I'm going to announce it right here on your show right now.
All right. Well, I appreciate your enthusiasm and support. I shouldn't say enthusiasm. I don't know about support, but enthusiasm.
Oh well, I always support you. I think you're great. All right, listen. You know what we went through today? We heard the president. He had like an hour-and-a-half press conference, and with about 40 minutes into it, he had said ransom, extortion twice, ransom 4 times, burn the house down, crash the global economy, cause a recession, threatening families. He's not budging, apparently. Boehner isn't budging, apparently. Is this a different situation than we've had? What I'm really getting at here is this a different kind of president?
Well, obviously it's a very different kind of president, and it's a president who understands that that the media is in the tank with him, that they are going to support him no matter what he says. I mean, here you have a president who's basically saying, I will not negotiate. Now, I don't know what governmental entity that you can govern and say, anywhere at any level of government, say, I'm going to govern and not negotiate with anybody who disagrees with me. I don't know how anybody agrees that that's a reasonable point of view. Yet, the way that it's being spun out there, the president is the reasonable guy, and the Republicans, who backed far away from the positions that they've taken originally, have gone down to really what I consider to be very de minimis types of
demands.
Changes demands. And the president still is taking this position, and he's doing it because he thinks he can win. Here's what everybody has to understand. This is not about shutting down the government. This is not about people getting their Medicare or their Medicaid or their Social Security checks. This is about one thing, and it's always about one thing with this president. It's about power. The president believes that he can increase his power by taking this tact, and he is willing to hurt innumerable people along the way, including anybody related to the government or in need of any government services, or including our military. The president's willing to do that if in the end he believes that he will diminish Republicans, increase his chances of solidifying more power, and be able to get the radical things that he wants through the Congress. That's the objective here. It's not about anything other than that.
I started the show by saying I'm a little bit afraid, to be honest with you, because we see a president here who not only has told the House and the Senate, and himself has said he would veto it even if the Senate somehow took it up and passed it, helping kids with cancer, helping veterans, opening the national parks. But also let me add to that, we got word today that the military is not paying the $100,000 death benefit for our slain heroes to their families, which is usually done in a few days to help them with their expenses and whatnot, even though that was already passed under the Pay Our Military bill. I was told by Louis Gohmert just before you that was included in there, but they're choosing not to pay it. So I see a president who's willing to do this and go that far. I'm scared as an American citizen a little bit here, I have to admit, Rick, that maybe this president who, let's be honest here, Constitution's a flawed document, we're not a fair society, blah, 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 blah. Maybe he doesn't care if we collapse and we get a good depression, and maybe we deserve it. And maybe the Republicans should cave and try to make this case to the public that they caved because they're afraid of this guy.
Well, here's again, I've said this from the very beginning. I knew him. I served with him 2 years. That his role model as president is Franklin Roosevelt, and people forget that the Depression did not get better under Franklin Roosevelt. We had 25% unemployment into his second term, yet he was reelected and reelected and reelected. Why? Well, again, the president he sees what a lot of folks don't, which is bad times don't necessarily mean bad things for the president who's in power. If the president in power is giving things to people who are in need and is out there looking like he cares and wants to give and wants to have government get bigger so he can help more people. That's the model that he's using, and he understands that bad times, a depression or whatever, is not necessarily going to hurt him or his party. In fact, as we saw, the deeper the Depression got, the more people relied on government, even though government was one of the principal reasons for the Depression. And in fact, we didn't come out of the Depression because of anything that Roosevelt did. We came out because of World War II. So understand that, again, go back to the basics. They are about power, solidifying power, accumulating in Washington, D.C. for him and for his successor, liberals who are going to be in power.
All right, so do I have a right, looking at my limited 401k and my 14-year-old son and his 501 whatever the heck it is? I mean, do I have a right to be right?
Yeah.
Right. Do I have a right to be scared?
You have a right to be concerned that a president is not. Look, I agree. This president is not going to back down until or unless it becomes a political negative for him. If somehow this gets turned to the president is one to say, wait a minute, you've got to be willing to negotiate something. Even the left says, you have to. But as long as that doesn't turn, as long as he is gaining ground, and to date he's gaining ground, as long as that is occurring, he's not going to back away, and he'll inflict whatever pain is necessary.
We're talking to former Senator Rick Santorum here on the Steve Malzberg Show, who is not announcing his candidacy for 2016 today. So give me a grade, or in your own words, how's Boehner doing? And how's McConnell's basically helpless in the Senate, but how's Boehner doing? How are the Republicans doing?
Well, I can't say that they've been great up until the last week or so. I think leading up to it, they've been they were all over the map. They were not united as a party. They were undercutting each other, including undercutting the folks who are out there trying to make the case that Obamacare was the focal point, which would have been a great thing had all Republicans lined up and made Obamacare the focal point, and then as they needed to do, shift, because obviously everyone knew that defunding Obamacare was not going to happen, but making the point about how bad Obamacare should have been the issue, and then you move to something that is a reasonable step in the right direction, which is to do what the president's done, which is delay certain parts of Obamacare. And that's what they made the right shift. They didn't get there the way they should have. They didn't get there united. They got there divided. And as a result of that division, now you see even Republicans, on the left splitting off and potentially joining Democrats to try to pass, a bill that would undermine everybody. So, I would say that, it was not particularly well orchestrated throughout, but they're in the right place right now, which is a reasonable demand that one of these or several of these things that are being put out there need to be done in order for the president for them to send something to the president. And I would stick by that. I would not back away from this. You can, if you concede this to the president, you are giving him an enormous amount of power in that city.
All right, now let's move quickly on to something that, this is one of the things I support you on 100% is your willingness to speak out on social values and what's in your heart and what matters to you. And you're going to be at the Values Voter Summit on Friday. And there's been from what I've been reading, there's been an attack or an organized effort, I should say, to keep people like you and others away from that summit, claiming it's run by a bunch of, homophobes and this and that and whatever name they could throw at people, criticizing the Family Research Council for the things they've supposedly said and calling them I don't know what the Southern Poverty Law Center calls them, a terrorist group, whatever they call them. But you're going and you're going to talk about getting people involved in politics and entertainment, which I think is important too.
Yeah, I mean, this is unfortunately the tactic. If you, it's not a matter of tolerance. These folks don't want you to, to accept who they are, what they believe in. They are going to accuse you of being a hater, a bigot, or everything else if you don't agree with them. And that's really the sad part of this. And I strongly support the Family Research Council and the sponsors of the Value Voter Summit. I'm excited to be there. The culture is changing in this country, and it's not changing because of politics. It's changing because of the popular culture and what Hollywood and what New York and others, and the centers of the left, if you will, are spewing to not just our children, but to all of us through these screens that are omnipresent in America today. And my word to them is that not only should we engage in politics as value voters, but we need to be value spenders, and we need to engage in the world of what we believe in every aspect of our lives. The popular culture in our churches, in our families, in our schools, in our businesses. We have to stop just focus on politics as going to be the solution to this. It is a vitally important part of it, but the left doesn't just focus on politics. They are busy 24/7 in all these other areas, and they've basically taken control of the media, the education, both primary, secondary, and obviously colleges and universities, and as well as the media. So we have to start fighting back on all those fronts, and if we don't, then we're going to be fighting a losing battle.
I couldn't agree with you more, Senator. We'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care. Rick Santorum, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. All right, when we come back, a trucker's ride for the Constitution. That's what it was being called, held today. We'll talk to the organizer right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show. Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings
savings on your health care at SocialSecurity311.com. You will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down America. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office. Historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54 with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
Sure, Steve might be a bit of a hypochondriac, but he never gets sick of breaking news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call Steve at 1-855-777-9660. That's 1-855-777-9660. Here's Steve.
All right, folks, welcome back. This Friday, there's a planned, a 3-day truckers protest, if you will. It's being called Truckers Ride for the Constitution, and joining us now is the logistical coordinator for that planned event, Earl Conlon. Hello, Earl. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Good. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so tell us all what you're planning for Friday down around the nation's capital.
Okay, but before I do that, I got to let you know I am not the spokesman for Ride for the Constitution. They're different people.
Okay.
I'm just one man doing what I think is right, and people seem to be following me a little bit here.
So are you the coordinator for it? Not at all, no?
I've been coordinating trucks, but, whoever's jumping on board is jumping on board.
All right, well, what are you coordinating them for? Tell us about it.
Well, the people with trailers on their trucks are going to stay outside the city because too many big trucks downtown would just not be right for all those folks trying to get around town. They're too big to be going around them little streets of D.C. But everybody that does not have a trailer, cars, trucks, bikes, motorcycles, whatever, they can get into downtown. But the big trucks with trailers have to stay on the outside and do their thing out there. However, I also got to mention that I told the U.S. News that we were going to be 3 lanes deep, bumper to bumper, nobody in, nobody out. I have to make a confession. I said that to get sensationalized so that the news media would get on board and not brush this under the rug like they did the bikers. I said that just to get the attention of the news media.
So how big a turnout? How big a turnout do you anticipate?
Several thousand.
All right, so several thousand bikers and truckers and small trucks and cars, and it's going to be on the Capitol Beltway starting Friday, and it's going to be 3 days long?
Yes, sir. We'll be there for 3 days, and I'm assuming we'll work in shifts.
All right, what's the purpose, though, Earl? What's the purpose of this? What do you hope to accomplish?
The powers of D.C. We want to make sure D.C. knows that the people ain't going to get ignored, ain't going to get laughed at, and ain't going to be called names like Harry Reid likes to do. And we are dead serious that our people in government, from the president to the local office, need to start obeying that Constitution. And that's the reason we have all the problems we have, because for the past 100 years, they've been just ignoring that Constitution and getting farther and farther away. This government shutdown thing. We would not have this conversation if the Congress and the Senate was balancing that budget. I propose that we take their perks away and put them on minimum wage until they got that budget.
Are you calling for their arrest of some of these congressmen and politicians as well?
If the shoe fits, if somebody's keeping the veterans from getting their benefits because he's being stubborn, well, that makes him a criminal. He's not operating inside the Constitution. And if you're outside the Constitution, that makes you an outlaw. And therefore, if our police had the cojones that they like to believe they have, they would obey the law and go and arrest somebody for violating their oath to office and blatantly walking on the law.
So who would you like to see arrested right off the bat?
Oh, my first one would be Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi, Dianne Feinstein, Lindsey Graham, John McCain, Chuck Schumer.
You're an equal out. You're a bipartisan. You're a bipartisan sheriff, I guess. Do you anticipate? I mean, you don't have a police permit for any of this, do they? Or not you? Do they have a police permit for this trucking event?
No, that was another sensationalized comment I made to stir the feathers of the media. No truckers or any of the people are going to be making any arrests. But
no. Do you have a police permit? Do you have a permit to stage this kind of thing on the mall?
No, sir, we do not. Not that I know of, unless somebody else did it. As far as I know, it's an act of civil disobedience.
All right, Earl, we'll catch up with you.
I could be wrong.
All right, we'll catch up with you again on Monday, see how it went, if that's okay with you, all right?
That'll be fine.
All right, thank you, Earl. That's Earl Conlin, helping to logistically organize some truckers for the Ride for the Constitution, which he says will take place in and around Washington, D.C. from Friday through the weekend. We shall see. When we come back, we're honored to be joined by Pastor John Hagee right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV, and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you worried about not having enough money to retire? Finally, there's a retirement solution designed to address the damage that the government spending policies and the Federal Reserve have inflicted on the value of the dollar. Introducing the Heritage Advantage IRA, the new gold and silver-backed retirement account from Heritage Gold Group. Don't let the declining value of the dollar put your retirement in jeopardy. The Heritage Advantage IRA puts retirement savers back in control with physical gold and silver combined with the tax advantages of an IRA. Call 855-GOLD IRA to request your free, no-obligation Heritage Advantage IRA kit. Inside, you'll find information about how to buy physical gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. No additional investment required. Call 855-GOLD-IRA for your free Advantage IRA kit. Don't wait. Plans for new regulations may eliminate rules allowing you to buy gold and silver with your existing IRA or 401k. Call 855-GOLD-IRA. That's 855-465-3472.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurity311.com. At SocialSecurity311.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurity311.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says this website is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurity311.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurity311.com. SocialSecurity311.com.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, one thing that has always fascinated me is biblical verses and prophecy and what they mean and in relation to how we are living today and things that have been predicted and things that could be happening now that could be traced back to the Bible and to what it could mean for us. And I got to tell you, I had the pleasure of sitting across from my next guest in the studio at the WR Radio when I was hosting there, and he has written a new book, and we welcome in Pastor John Hagee, and the new book is 4 Blood Moons. Something is about to change. And Pastor, great to talk to you again, sir.
Steve, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Well, thank you. All right, so this is very interesting, and you talk about these blood moons which the book's out today, and congratulations on that. A supernatural connection between the sun and the moon and the stars, and a discovery by NASA and Israel and biblical prophecy. I mean, it's a fascinating read. Talk about how you even came upon all this.
This is how they got started. I was reading the prophet Joel, chapter 2, when he says, "And there will be wonders in the heavens and in the earth. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord." Those exact words are again reported in Acts 2:19, and then Jesus made a similar statement in Luke 21 when he said, "And there will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars. And when you see these things begin to happen, lift up your heads and rejoice, because your redemption draweth nigh." Those three verses gave me a very clear indication that God is using the heavens as his personal billboard to send messages to humanity, but we're not getting it. In Genesis 1:14, it said the sun and the moon are created to separate the seasons and to give signs and seasons. The Hebrew word for signs also means signals. David wrote in Psalms the 19th chapter that the heavens declare the glory of the Lord, that the heavens declare, they speak day unto day, they reveal knowledge. If they're revealing knowledge, what is that knowledge? If God is using the sun and the moon to speak to us, what is he saying? So I started tracking the internet on what NASA had to say about blood moons. A blood moon is when the moon turns a reddish glow because the sun, the moon, the earth is between the sun and the moon, and the sun's rays go over the circumference of the earth and hit the moon and causes a reddish glow. I have found out that the only 3 times that there has been a tetrad is 4 red blood moons in sequence, was in 1492, 1948, and 1967. In more than 500 years, these are the dates, not given by some group of theologians, but as given by NASA.
And we're going to have them again next year, correct?
Right. The point of the 1942, 1948, and 67 is that in 1492, it was the time that King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain kicked the Jewish people out of Spain. It was something that began with tragedy, but ended with triumph as Columbus discovered America, which became the home for the Jewish people. The second tetrad of blood moons was 1948, when Israel became a state. It began with the horror of the Holocaust, but ended in the dream of statehood. The third tetrad of 4 blood moons was in 1967, with a 6-day war that ended with Jerusalem being reunited with Israel. Now NASA is saying there will be only one more series of 4 blood moons in the foreseeable future. Now, it's only happened 3 times in over 500 years, and now it's getting ready to happen a 4th time beginning in April of next year, April the 15th, 2014, which ironically is Passover. The second blood moon of next year will be October the 8th, 2014, which is the Feast of Tabernacles. Then there will be a total solar eclipse where the sun refuses to shine, just like Joel said it would. And then in 2015, on April the 4th, there will be a 3rd blood moon, and that is also for Passover. And the 4th blood moon will be September the 28th, 2015, which is the Feast of Tabernacles. When you put all of this together, that first, that God has to control the sun and the moon and the earth to get in a direct alignment to produce a blood moon, and the fact that God, centuries ago, set the date for Passover and Feast of Tabernacles to the Jewish people in the Bible when all of those things click at the same time, for the last time as far as science can predict, you need to pay attention.
I got to tell you, you just explained that so well that I don't know how anybody could not want to go get that book and read Four Blood Moons. Something is About to Change by John Hagee, who we should also point out, of course, is the author of 4 New York Times bestsellers, including Jerusalem Countdown, and also the founder and senior pastor of Cornerstone Church in San Antonio, Texas, which is a non-denominational evangelical church, and of course telecasts and radio and for years and years and years. But it's amazing. I'm blown away by the 4 moons that are coming. That NASA couldn't even say, oh yeah, well, it's not going to happen in the next maybe 500 years, 1,000 years, 2,000 years, maybe in 10,000 years it'll happen again, but they can't even say that it's going to happen again. And how these coincide with, as you said, Passover. I mean, it's just almost too coincidental. And there's a New York City police officer who's a dear friend of mine, Stephen McDonald, who was shot many years ago, almost 30 years ago, at Central Park on duty, and he was left paralyzed for the rest of his life, and he's done such wonderful things. But he said a wonderful thing that actually his wife said: there's no coincidences, there's only God incidences.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So this really so what do you think this all means? I mean, what do you think this signifies?
Well, I think based on the fact that God does things in a pattern, and the fact that this has happened 3 times before, and each time it happened, there was a major situation that involved Israel. 1942 was the expulsion of the Jews from Spain. 48 was Israel's statehood. 67, Jerusalem was reunited with Israel. So logically, you can say that something in the future is going to happen that's going to affect the state of Israel, and is going to change the history of the world. There's a myriad of possibilities, but no one has the biblical right to say exactly what it will be, because the Bible doesn't say. It just says, get ready, I'm going to give you these signs that something significant is about to happen that's going to be earth-shaking.
And so this would be more likely if it were to come to fruition in 2015 at the end of the 4th moon, or could it be anywhere within that framework of the 4 moons that are coming?
It could be in the framework, but probably would be following.
Okay. Another thing, you talk about the signs. You talk about the Arab Spring. You also talk about possibly missed signs that we might have missed here, religiously speaking, or symbolically speaking, or both. Hurricane Katrina, the Oklahoma tornadoes, Hurricane Sandy, the meteor that exploded over Russia. I mean, do you believe those were signs from God? And if so, what were those signs? What was he trying to tell us?
I don't think nature in and of itself can be nailed down with the specificity that this 4 blood moons gives. You have always had tornadoes. You have always had earthquakes. The Bible says that they will occur, but never in the history of humanity have we had 4 signs so specific as the 4 blood moons. It's happened 3 times in slightly over 500 years. Now it's going to happen one more time, and as far as science is concerned, they can't see it again happening like that. And each day it's going to be on Passover or the Feast of Tabernacles.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievable thing.
Let me also point out that Pastor Hagee is the founder and the national chairman of Christians United for Israel. And, I told you this when you were with me several years ago, that as a Jew, I think it's very unfortunate that so many in our community don't welcome the friendship of Christians, no matter what or why they support the state of Israel. They do, and they should be welcomed in as friends of the Jewish people in the state of Israel, and not looked at with suspicion. And I'm not saying all Jews do, but you know very well that some do, and they rather give land away to Mahmoud Abbas than welcome in Christian fundamentalists who, for whatever reason, support Israel. And I think that's very foolish indeed.
Well, thank you, Steve. The biblical fact is that we are brothers, and we need to be supportive of each other. And we have a biblical mandate in Isaiah, the 61st chapter, said, for Zion's sake, not to keep silent, and for Jerusalem's sake, not to remain quiet.
Well, and you may want to know, sir, and let me leave you with one more question. What about the slaughter, the persecution of Christians all over the Muslim world and the African nations? And we're talking about the Copts in Egypt specifically these days, but churches burned, bombed, people beheaded because they won't convert to Islam. And we, as a nation, stay silent. I'm proud to say this show has covered it extensively, and I am outraged at what has taken place. But for the most part, I have to say, Christians too in this country have stayed silent. I don't get that.
Steve, Christians United for Israel has been pushing a bill through Congress with all fours that, is my understanding, is almost about to pass. If they could get by this budgetary process we've got. But we have a bill in Congress right now that the United States government would bring aid and other sources of salvation to these people, Christians in the Middle East, who are being murdered because they refuse to convert to Islam.
Yeah, well, it's long overdue, and I hope I wish you a lot of success with that and with the book, 4 Blood Moons. Something is about to change. Pastor John Hagee, great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Great to talk to you, Steve. You can get that by going online to johnhageeministries.org or to bookstores anywhere.
And Amazon and all the rest, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck, sir. We'll talk to you again. Thank you. All right. Pastor John Hagee, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very interesting. Look, how could you not be intrigued? He's not, nothing he's said here is he making up. He's taking it to a conclusion. But facts are facts, and what he presents here with NASA and the prediction of the dates of the moons and how often it's happened in the past 500 years and past 2015, when 2 of these moons are due to become be out there. NASA has no prediction as to when they will arrive in the future, and the dates that they've happened in the past have this significance to the Jewish people or Israel. I mean, it's mind-boggling. It really is mind-boggling, and you start thinking that there's something to this, that it's not just total coincidence. I'd love to know what you think, folks. No matter what your faith or even if you don't, or denomination or whatever, I'd love to hear from you. 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. We have one final segment left here on the Tuesday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family.
Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already an Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today. Go to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy.
Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare311.com. Obamacare311.com. That's Obamacare311.com.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
A hot new book by Craig Smith argues that the greenback is now at high risk. Thanks to our spendthrift politicians, Mark Twain said the truth is stranger than fiction. The same is true of the Great Debasement, which began a century ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. The result, today's dollar retains just 2 cents of its original buying power. Yes, progressive politicians have engineered the largest wealth confiscation in history, creating in essence a fourth branch of government. Learn what must be done to preserve your money if the dollar crashes. The good news is Swiss America is offering the Great Debasement, a $20 value free of charge for this special radio offer.
800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. 800-818-3967. Call Swiss America now for a free DVD. 800-818-3967.
Larry works on the construction site when he's not held up with constipation. Mary sits all day at a desk, which does little to relieve gas and bloating. You can't schedule abdominal discomfort, but you can help alleviate it with Back2Pro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Back2Pro is the fiber probiotic supplement that comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. It includes the most essential ingredients necessary to help support your healthy digestive and immune function. Experience the results. Learn how you can receive a 30-day supply of Back2Pro. Just visit Back2Pro.com/offer. All you cover is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Do something about your digestive health now. Get your 30-day supply at Back2Pro.com/offer. That's BACTIPRO.com/offer. Limited time only. Back2Pro.com/offer.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, so CNN has taken down its clock where it was keeping a running total hour by hour, second by second, minute by minute of the government shutdown. Instead, they just have the day number for the shutdown. But the debt ceiling default clock, actually debt ceiling deadline clock, is up. And we have 198 hours, 7 minutes, and 40 seconds. Woof. Again, those of you in the radio business know exactly what woof means. All right. Loony left. You want to hear the loony left? I'll give you the loony left in this final segment of the Steve Malzberg Show. Let's start with the looniest of the loony left. Well, it's a contest. It's up for grabs. But how about Chris Matthews? Okay, here's Chris Matthews on Monday's edition of Hardball on MSNBC, giving an analogy between the Democrats and the Republicans and the Israelis and the Palestinians. Let's listen to cut number 11, shall we?
We're in trouble. This is about Boehner trying to basically paper over the party's larger problem that they've got going on here.
This is the problem that Israel's had all these years with the Arab side, Gene. It's not that there aren't good people on the Arab side. It's that the good people on the Arab side don't call the shots. And they're always worried about the terrorists behind them that would break the deal. You know, there have been Mahmoud Abbas, for example, is obviously a thoroughly going, reasonable person who wants a state and knows he has to have peace to get it. But it seems like the people like Boehner, they can't deliver on the deal. And I'm worried here, as an American, I am worried that we're going to go into a cataclysm here that's not worthy of us as a country.
All right, so Boehner is like the Palestinians? I don't know. Boehner he's like Mahmoud Abbas? And the other Republicans, I guess, are the terrorists. I guess that's by extension exactly what it is he's saying. All right, yeah, look. Hey, I told you. Or who's loonier, him or how about Ed Schultz? Ed Schultz says John Boehner's guilty of treason. This is cut number 12. Let's listen to cut number 12.
And they will shut down the government and they will not pay the bills to get their way. The word is treason. The treasonous John Boehner.
The treasonous John Boehner. Now, treason is punishable by death. So I guess, lunatic Ed Schultz is saying that John Boehner should get the death penalty for doing exactly what Chris Matthews' old boss did 7 times or 5 times as Speaker of the House. I don't know. I guess that's what he's saying. If you know what treason is and you look at the penalty. But this is treason. Now, here's a recent entry into the mix for the looniest of the loony leftists. Randy Rhoads. I know you're saying, who? Randy Rhoads is a talk show host on radio. I wouldn't even call her left wing. I'd call her left tip of the wing. Extreme tip of the far end of the wing, and of the wing, extreme tip of the far end of the wing. And if there's Randy Rhoads talking about John Boehner in most unflattering but very hardened liberal terms, cut 10.
But there is a solution. Boehner aside, I mean, we know he's a drunk, crying man, and he's got some emotional problems. Every time you see him, that man is crying. I mean, it's like you can see the crazy, but you just don't want to say anything. It's the emperor has no clothes. Everybody that has ever watched John Boehner from both political parties or independent, whatever you are, I really don't give a rat's ass anymore. But whatever you are, everybody has seen John Boehner is unstable. John Boehner has bloodshot eyes all the time. John Boehner is always crying. John Boehner is a noodle, okay? He's a weak man who somehow, managed to work through the system and become the Speaker of the House.
Yeah, I know. The hate, the venom, the viciousness, the name-calling, the impugning of one's integrity, and it's typical for those on the left. Typical. Now, if you get a right of center or right-wing radio talk show host who, when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker or now as minority leader in the House, called her the same things, differently, but called him a drunk or unstable, emotionally unstable, just rose through the ranks, don't know how it happened, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you'd be called every name in the book. They'd want to fire you. And if you did it to an African-American Democratic politician, then Al Sharpton would come and he'd get you. He would decide if you would work or you would not work because he is Al Sharpton. You see how messed up we are? So between Schultz and Rhoads and Matthews, you tell me who's the worst. All right, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, God willing, as they say, on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.